as the survivors began to straggle into the walled towns and places of refuge from the isolated farms and plantation castles, bringing with them horrific stories of atrocity, there was created an atmosphere which was very special and which was to be repeated again and again in every subsequent crisis that the Protestants faced.
The stories of atrocity would not be forgotten, creating a lasting mentality of siege. Protestants now anxiously looked out from behind their castle walls. Having defeated the king in the Civil War, the new English Parliament sent Oliver Cromwell to Ireland in 1649 with clear instructions to reconquer the country for England and for Protestantism. With accounts of 1641 still ringing in their ears, Cromwell's army embarked on a Protestant crusade to punish the Irish.
This was to be a lesson. It was meant to be a punitive lesson for those who had rebelled, and it was also meant to be a reprisal for what had been disclosed as Catholic massacres of Protestants in 1641. So it was deliberately meant, effectively, to strike terror.
By the time the Cromwellian reconquest of Ireland was complete, there were English garrisons, like this one on the west coast, throughout Ireland. During his swift, efficient campaign, Cromwell decided to make examples of Drogheda and Wexford. Men, women, and children in both towns were slaughtered. Cromwell wrote of his actions with a sense of almost divine mission.
It hath pleased God to bless our endeavours at Drogheda. I wish that all honest hearts may give the glory of this to God alone, to whom indeed the praise of this mercy belongs. This is a righteous judgment of God upon those barbarous wretches who have imbrued their hands in so much innocent blood.
The ruins of Cromwell's presence still remain in Ireland, and the memory of him lingers in the Irish mind.
Cromwell was a real tyrant. He was hated by the Irish people.
The sense of grievance is still evoked in the Irish folk memory.
Cromwell intended to exterminate them. That was the only way to beat them.
After every massacre like Drogheda, Cromwell went and prayed out of his Bible and gave thanks to the Lord that he dealt with these miscreants in their thousands. He really believed he was doing the Lord's work.
Well, Cromwell massacred the Irish out of a face. I don't think anyone ever was as cruel to the Irish as Cromwell.
As a result of the Cromwellian reconquest, many Irish were driven to the barren lands of the West. Their fertile lands had been taken from them and given to Cromwell's soldiers and others to whom the government owed money. But when the Irish heard that a king sympathetic to the Catholics had replaced rule by Parliament, their hopes rose. The accession of a Catholic, James II, in 1685, further renewed optimism amongst the Irish Catholics that their land might soon be restored to them.
There was a growing hope and optimism among the Catholics, particularly among the remnants of the Catholic aristocracy, that a policy of what we might call positive discrimination in favor of Catholics was only the prelude to a more general revision of land ownership and, in fact, an attempt to roll back the tide of Protestant plantation throughout the 17th century.
Enthusiasm for James II in Ireland was more than matched by hostility to him in England. The Protestant ruling class decided he must be removed. Overtures were made to his son-in-law, William of Orange, ruler of the Netherlands and a champion of the Protestant cause in Europe. William was secretly offered the English crown. In a bloodless coup, James fled. He went to the court of the most powerful Catholic king in Europe, Louis XIV of France. William of Orange became king, securing the Protestant faith in England. James crossed to Catholic Ireland to begin his reconquest of England. Backed with French troops, in 1689 James laid siege to the Protestant garrison of Londonderry. The city was under siege for 15 weeks.
The siege itself has become a kind of series of tableaux, cycle of myths, really, which have been preserved and handed down through the generations. And clearly its symbolical significance for the Protestants was very considerable. Here they had withstood the armies of James II. They had suffered greatly, had great privations, and in the end the city had been relieved and William III had come to their rescue and established their cause. And I think this was why the Siege of Londonderry becomes enshrined in Protestant mythology.
Every year, the Protestants of Londonderry march through the city to remember their victory. The heroic resistance of the defenders of Londonderry has become a symbol of Ulster Protestant fortitude and loyalty to the English crown. But the crucial battle came a year later. William had no real interest in Ireland, but crossed to Ulster to continue his struggle against France. On the 1st of July, 1690, on the banks of the River Boyne, the predominantly Dutch army of King William met the French army of King James and settled the destiny of Ireland. King William won a decisive victory in the battle. It is remembered each year as the Orangemen march through the streets of Northern Ireland to commemorate the glorious and immortal memory of King Billy and the Boyne. King Billy routed the Catholics and James fled. It was the third major defeat of the Catholic Irish in 100 years. This time it was final. For the Protestants, King Billy has become their hero, and the battle has come to represent Protestant triumph in Ireland. Each year they swagger and strut through the streets of Northern Ireland in celebration of their triumph over the Catholics.
The Battle of the Boyne is really the turning point for Protestants in Ireland. It reversed the trend of the previous two reigns, and after the Battle of the Boyne, the Protestant ascendancy was established in Ireland for a long time to come. And that is, I think, one reason why the memory which is kept alive of the Battle of the Boyne by the Protestants is perhaps a kind of true instinct, acknowledging the importance of this as a turning point in their fortunes.
But drums that beat for Protestant triumph also toll for Catholic defeat. When the Orange men march, it is an annual reminder to the Catholics of their defeat nearly 300 years ago.